How you doing? Welcome into the Rusty Rivet tonight. Tonight we're going to be finishing up my water tray for my plasma table that I'm refurbishing. My business went all laser, so I brought home the plasma table to my home workshop, and it was sitting out all winter. I've been pulling it apart and kind of refurbishing it and just get it running as good as possible. What we're going to be doing tonight is finishing the water tray here. It's hot rolled steel, 11 gauge. I would have gone thicker, but it's what they had at the metal supply. So I had them bend on a brake, the 11 gauge. They have to bend the sides, and then I have to weld the end caps on. They don't have a brake that can bend the ends. So it's something I've dealt with in the past. However, the last time I did it, I short circuit MIG'd it, and I got to the last like 6 inches, and then it just kind of warped on me right at the end. And I was left dealing with a warped pan for a few years, because each one of these pans lasts about 2 years, I'd say. And I make them out of regular steel. I don't make them out of stainless. To me, it's not worth the extra cost to make it out of stainless. So what we're going to do is we're going to weld these end caps on. So the big thing is I don't want it to warp. So what I'm going to be doing, we're going to do some spray transfer with pulse. We're going to specifically be doing dual pulse on the ARCCAPTAIN MIG 205 double pulse machine. I've used it a few times. It worked out really good with aluminum once I figured out the right wire to run. There's more options with the steel, and the reason being is they left more synergic settings in the machine because it's easier to push steel wire. They're working right now to kind of open up those parameters a little bit, I think, with aluminum, but it's hard to push aluminum in a MIG gun. So yeah, anyways, so we're gonna hopefully weld this on without any issue. And I'm going to be running the synergic settings without messing with them in the machine, just so you can see how well this machine is set up. You don't really have to mess with the settings. You just get welding, and it makes it pretty easy. All right. A couple things here. I'm using ARCCAPTAIN brand .030 wire. It seems to weld pretty good. The reason why I'm using 030 and not 035 is I want to keep that heat input down to a minimum. So I'm using as thin of a wire as possible. The thinner the wire, the less electrons travel into the metal and the less heat you get. With spray, the reason why I'm using double pulse is that spray transfer is very hot, and it allows you to weld very fast, which actually, even though it's hotter, short circuit has much more heat input because you have to travel slower, even though it's colder. And that, I have a feeling, will warp this. So we're going to give this a shot. We're going to see how it works. What's the worst that can happen? It warps? Oh well. Okay. Let's give it a shot. Okay, I want to show you. We are going to reset this. If you go to the bottom icon there and you go all the way down, weld data reset, and I'm going to reset this. So this is exactly where the machine would start, okay? And I really want to show you how easy this is to set up. I push the button in the bottom. That highlights red, all right? I want to go into double pulse, and it will automatically put you in synergic settings. I like 2T on this. I'm going to start with the inductance at 0. I waited a little too long. I gotta push that button again. All right, I have no jobs saved. I just reset it. Steel. I want to set that to 030 wire. All right, this user interface makes it pretty easy to set up. 80/20 gas. So let's talk about that for a second. I'm set, in the US, we generally run 75/25. I have 75/25 and I have 90/10, okay? 90/10 is a great gas to set up a spray transfer. So I'm gonna be running with 90/10 gas. All right, I'm gonna check this out. So it'll give you an option to go fillet, butt weld, edge weld, which is an outside corner joint, or lap weld. Okay, I'm gonna go to fillet weld because I'm welding the inside of this, and it automatically sets me up. Okay, it has me on 10 gauge. I wanna go to 11 gauge, all right, 260 inches per minute and 22.8 volts. So I put it in fast forward. I had to jump around. When I first started it, it warped a little bit. I don't know if you caught that. I don't know if the camera caught it. I was concentrating too much on getting a good arc shot. I don't even know if I did that. It's kind of hard with leaning over. I'm not sure how that turned out. So I put that on fast forward for you so you can see how I jumped around. Now, when I started, my first weld's terrible. I didn't get the arc to go from the sidewall to the bottom. It took me a while to get dialed in. I had to pull the arc away. I'm so used to doing short circuit that I try resting the the wire in the leading edge of the puddle. With spray transfer, you don't do that. Okay, you need to have that metal jump into the puddle. Okay, you're spraying it into the puddle. Double pulse is spray transfer. What's happening is it's doing a full spray, and then when it pulses, the arc jumps back, the wire feeds out, and then it sprays again and pushes that into the puddle. And that will give you that rippled effect. It took me a while to get used to that. So I had to pull that torch back a little bit, and I don't know if you caught that I went back to the bottle and I cranked it up to about 30 on the regulator, and that kind of took care of everything, because I got a little porosity because I was down near 25, so I had to bring it up near 30, and it kind of evened out from then. And then I went back and I went through and made sure there was no little pinholes or gaps or lack of fusion. Last thing I want to do is have to keep filling this table because it's leaking out all over the floor. So I definitely wanted to make sure I hit everything. I feel like I could have done a little, I feel like I could have been a little more consistent if I did short circuit, because it's a nice rhythm that you get into. And that tends to work for me to kind of carry it through. But if that's the case, then I build up so much heat because I'm traveling so slow that I'll warp the whole thing, okay? Hopefully when I sit it down on the table tomorrow, it's gonna be good. But first thing I need to do is coat the bottom of it with some good paint. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Refurbished the plasma table. I built a new water tray. This plasma table was sitting out in the driveway all winter in the snow. It was pretty rough. I went through everything, made sure everything works, greased up things, sanded things down, got the corrosion off, built a new water tray. That was pretty shot. I used the 205 double pulse. This thing's really nice. I've showed you on other episodes the user interface and how to use it. It lays down a pretty good weld. You get the hang of it, okay? You can see on these it was a little inconsistent. It's tough trying a whole bunch of different machines because you never get used to one of them. So that's why a lot of people do the coupons, because it's easy to just practice and practice. So anyways, I went through, I tried the double pulse, tried getting warpage down to a minimum. I did a little bit. If I did it again, there's other things I do differently, but you make every weld better than the last kind of thing. And then I use the CUT65, and you've seen this on previous videos. It got all the way up, finished cut, all the way up to 1 inch thick steel. And I did a test in this where I cut through 25 pieces in a row, and that was to just show you the repetitive nature of hitting the trigger and making sure there's no faults when you do it. I've seen a lot of comments online about the fault codes. The hardest part on the plasma cutter is the start and stop, the pierces. Okay, that is the hardest part on the consumables. So I did everything that I did on that last video and this on the same set of electrode. Now, this is the CUT65, so its claim to fame here. It's non-high frequency, non-touch start. The biggest one of all, it's 65. It has two inputs on the back of the machine that wire up into a CNC interface. So I'm going to run it on my plasma table. I've mentioned what plasma cutters I use. I use real high-end plasma cutters, probably about the best in the business. And I decided I want to try ARCCAPTAIN to see if they can live up to what they're saying, okay? And we'll do a bunch of ongoing testing with this on this table. So thanks for tuning into the Rusty Rivet. I appreciate you watching, subscribing, sharing, and commenting, especially. Throw a comment in there. What do you want to see? All right? Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.